Welcome to SVG-TV News and Sports from Tuesday, March 11, 2014. I'm Jimmy Prince for the details. The decision by Camilo Gonzalez, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, to relinquish his American citizenship before his appointment as a government senator should be regarded as a selfless act. That's according to Prime Minister and his father, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, who was commenting to SVG-TV News on an open letter written by the minister. In the open letter, the younger Gonzalez disclosed that ahead of his senatorial appointment to the Parliament of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, he made the decision to abandon his birth country, the United States. He said the decision was made not because he felt it would have hindered his senatorial appointment. However, speaking to SVG-TV News, Prime Minister Gonzalez said the renouncement showed the minister's commitment to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
To do it. It was a personal decision showing his commitment unequivocally to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, of which he is a citizen by birth, because he is born of a Vincentian parent, that is to say Ralph Gonzalez. And that they were saying that he wasn't qualified to sit. After 6 months, Linton Lewis grabbed it as though he is a lifeline, because Linton feels that Camilo is going to run in East St. George to see if he could knock out Camilo. It was pathetic. And Camilo simply outlined, listen guys, I didn't have to do this, but I did it. You know, it was a personal decision without any political calculus.
And the newly appointment of the new chairman of Caricom, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, says the institution has a great deal to get done before its full extent is realized. Dr. Gonzalez noted that the stinging critics against some of the Caricom's, that should be criticisms against some of Caricom's policies, can be heard clearly. He warned that Caricom is not a set of disparate countries.
Let us begin by stating what Caricom is not. Caricom is not a central government of a bundle of disparate territories. It is not a unitary state. It is not a federation. It is not even a confederation. The revised Treaty of Chaguaramas conceives Caricom as a community of sovereign states. Its center has been deliberately designed as a weak superstructure which constantly gropes for consensus.
Opposition leader Adam Eustace has come in for high praise from leader of Team Unity out of St. Kitts Nevis. The party's leader is praising Eustace for taking bold steps and speaking out on the political impasse in his country. At a joint media conference on Monday, leader of Team Unity, Dr. Timothy Harris, says they'll always be indebted to Eustace, whose integrity and vision for the region, in his view, are unrivaled and unmatched.
When this chapter is well written in history, it will be revealed that the Honorable Arnim Eustace showed courage of conviction, and he spoke truth to power, and he fought for democracy in St. Kitts and Nevis as valiantly as he continues to fight for it in his own beloved St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Meanwhile, leader of the New Democratic Party, Adam Eustace, is questioning whether the political impasse in St. Kitts and Nevis is of little relevance to Caricom nationals. Mr. Eustace says he is baffled as to why Caricom is ignoring the impasse in St. Kitts and Nevis, which has been affecting the parliament there for the past 15 months, and instead placed its focus on issues taking place much further away.
Now, we're in a situation here where the recent developments in Venezuela a few weeks old. So it is in the case of the Ukraine. What makes Caricom think that Venezuela or the Ukraine and their constitutional processes are more important than that of St. Kitts? What makes Caricom think that when St. Kitts Nevis is a member of Caricom? So it's not a matter of what is important or not important. This is our sister country in Caricom. This is part of us, but we ignore it for more than a year. We're combatant countries far away from us.
In other news, Cultural Officer Anthony Tibble says he liked to see the presence of moving sanctions at the wreath-laying ceremony at the obelisk here at Dorsetshire Hill on National Heroes Day. The country will on Friday commemorate another National Heroes Day in honor of their first and only national hero, at this time Joseph Chattoyer. Speaking to SVG-TV News, Tibbles says over the years it has been disappointing to see the small number of persons who attend the wreath-laying ceremony, but he believes that in time things will change.
I think we have to be a little bit patient as things unfold. If I speak to the national program at the obelisk, I remember when there were 20 people, Naked Roots drummers and a few people from the NYC. And it was not a public holiday, and you had to celebrate on the nearest Saturday in order to be able to facilitate the transport of people. I know that because it's a public holiday, it is difficult to get transportation up to the area of Dorchester Hill where the obelisk is, but there are vans running onto Sign Hill, and if you are prepared to exercise a little bit, it is not an unmanageable walk to walk from the Sign Hill Junction to the obelisk.
Tibbles took the opportunity to speak of the significance of the obelisk and the annual wreath-laying ceremony.
The obelisk was built after a number of efforts to involve the government through the instrumentality of the National Youth Council. The obelisk was built as a monument to remind the country of the place where it is understood that Joseph Chatouillet died. Joseph Chatouillet died on the 14th of March, which is how come we have this national holiday when he was made the first national hero of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it is within that context that we get together and do a celebration program at the obelisk, laying wreaths to remember the passing of Joseph Chatouillet and his importance to the country.
Meantime, the cultural officer highlights some other activities that will be taking place across the country as part of the National Heroes Day celebration.
There are programs put on by private community organizations. The folks at Greg's are putting on an all-day program. The folks at the Fancy Farmers are putting on a program that runs from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the folks at Sandy Bay are also presenting a program. Besides those specific activities for March 14th, oh, I forgot Sign Hill. Sign Hill also is trying to get together a program for the 14th. And that should be in the evening about 5 o'clock. Besides those specific programs that are happening on the 14th, there is the Garifuna Conference, which is happening on Saturday the 15th. And the Department of Culture will do some school visits during the last 2 weeks of the month. The Rose Hall Community Organization is doing a special Culture Fest on the 29th.
According to Tibbles, the National Heroes Day Committee will be culminating the month of activities with a poetry session in collaboration with the Alliance Française on March 29th.
We are going to have the presence of a French poet who will present in slam, and we are expecting as well to have a number of Vincentian poets. Persons who come and perform get in for free, and persons who wish to just come and be entertained pay a small sum of $10 to the Alliance. So that's the final program that the department will be doing for the month.
The debate on legalizing same-sex marriage continues to be a hot topic on the international scene. Here at home, the question as to whether St. Vincent and the Grenadines should follow the global shift in normalizing or accepting homosexuality was discussed over the weekend on the Hits Talk program. Councillor Edward Smith said the issue of homosexuality now is more of an ethical issue than it was in time past, adding that in some societies, homosexuality is a valid alternative lifestyle. According to Smith, some of the increasing acceptance of homosexuality comes from religious persons and groups who take the issue of their sexuality very seriously.
There are hundreds of congregations in the Metropolitan Community Church. MCC, today all around the world. The MCC is an association of churches that are attempting to harmonize homosexuality and the Bible. They claim that there is nothing inconsistent with following Christ and being homosexual at the same time. They have written broadly in an attempt to show how homosexuality fits with their interpretation of the Bible. And we all know that society is facing increasing pressure to recognize gay rights and same-sex marriages. Not so much in St. Vincent as yet, but it will come eventually.
Smith says the debate over same-sex marriage assumes that homosexuality is acceptable.
The term homosexual can mean many things. Exactly what kind of person is in view are we thinking of when we label someone as a homosexual? First, it can refer to a true homosexual, one whose sexual preference has been inverted, or as we would say, changed around. It has not been proven that there is such thing as a natural homosexual. Just about everyone, based on research, has been inverted. They have changed their natural tendency to this one.
And the Fidel Taylor of the Pentecostal Assemblies is warning Vincentians against the practice of homosexuality, which he says the Bible does not condone.
Verse 23, a man must not defile himself by having sex with another man as he does with a woman. It is a detestable sin to have intercourse with it. This is a perverse act. Do not defile yourself in any of these ways, for the people I am driving out before you have defiled themselves in these ways, because the entire land has become defiled. The land, agriculture, the ocean, the sea, the rivers. You're talking about causes when you dabble in these things that can come not on the people alone and the people who do it, but the nation when they embrace these lifestyles. You know, if you condone it as a nation and say we cool with it, it's okay. This is what happens when you break the laws of God.
Taylor added that the role of the church is to confront and address issues persons are struggling with daily.
Church is made up of people from all part of the society. The church is not a perfect organism. When you become a follower of Christ, you don't automatically overnight become perfect. You know, so the church is made up of gay people too. People with all kinds of challenges, with all kinds of weaknesses. And we have to live with it. We have to grapple with these challenges. Some people, like I said, will not be changed overnight. And some people will continue to embarrass the church with the philosophies and with the practices.
A new executive has been selected to serve the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Pharmaceutical Association Incorporated for the next 2 years. The members of the new executive are President Fiona Denny-Pierre, Vice President Keisha Thompson, Secretary Chevron Cameron, Treasurer Joanne Ince-Jack, Assistant Secretary Alston De Silva, and the committee member Colette Bonady and Aquana Gill. The telecommunications company Lime earlier today introduced its ambassadors to the media. General Manager Leslie Jack says one of the key things that the company has identified as critical to maintaining the carnival product is the support from other persons, which in turn will enhance the festival.
Working with the Lime Soca Dance, in particular Herrick and the Island Network for many years to deliver on the Monday band, as well as to support some of the best artists that exist within the Caribbean that represent us locally, regionally and internationally. And they have been doing a very good job thus far, and we do think it's important that we continue to do that level of partnership. It's about a year or two since we introduced the DJs as part of in terms of being a partner or an ambassador for Lime. And again, they too are very critical in bringing the awareness of the carnival product, and they have been helping us in terms of sending the message, letting people know what the various offers or benefits associated with being on the Lime network, and they too have been doing a really good job at it.